The stream. I won't start streaming for a couple of seconds, but we are basically live at this point.
Radiant team
We should probably go in the other channel.
User left your channel.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to MD2l Season 19 Upper Bracket Semifinals between Lizzo Landscaping and our Pause One is Legend. Due to some technical difficulties, we missed the first part of the draft. Apologies for that. And we will enter now as both teams pick up their fourth heroes in this draft. I am joined today by Primo Janitor.
Yeah, what up?
He will be the point caster tonight, and I'll be the color caster, though we may step on each other's toes a little bit as we get used to the format. I'm unfamiliar with Lizzo Landscaping. I did a little bit of research on them prior, and these two teams have played together in this league one at a time, and it was a 1-1 in that best of two. Our Pause One of Legends kind of threw the first game, and then they stomped the second game.
5 seconds remaining.
But both teams do have a couple of mortals on each side, so we should be for a treat, seeing the skill displayed on each side. Looking at the drafts, I'd say that both sides they have pretty decent lane winners. Not seeing any kind of massive disparity. The OD coming out as the fourth pick on our Pause One is Legend. He tends to win lane. The only way you really deal with him is like a Sniper, which they immediately ban. Necrophos, which is banned.
Banning the Magnus, interesting.
Magnus is a signature hero of Dimitri. And he's very, very skilled on it. Another hero that Dimitri plays is Enigma, who has made it this far in the pool. I wouldn't be surprised to see our Pause One is Legend pick him up.
5 seconds remaining.
I think that our Pause One is Legend has good damage. I feel like they lack a little bit of area control. So Enigma would absolutely help with that. On Lizzo Landscaping, I think their CC is very strong. They have very good single target damage, a little bit of AoE damage with the axe. Very good
amount of beef too.
Yeah. I think they're picking the 2 on Lizzo Landscaping. Wraith King is usually played as a 3 on our Pause One is Legend from Dimitri, so I could see this being either a 1 or a 3 Wraith King.
10 seconds remaining.
What heroes do you think counter the Ursa in the Pause One position?
It's tricky, especially going against Tusk and Axe. I think there's pretty narrow range. I'm not sure what I would want here.
I could consider like a Faceless Void. That way you don't have to worry about any of those heroes you mentioned. I don't think Void is played so much by Granola. He more picks up like Luna, Patrol, Bloodseeker, all of which are in this game. Of those I listed, Troll's probably the best in manning up to Ursa. You kind of want like a longer teamfight hero or a kiter with your Pause One. This could be a Pause 3 as well. You got to remind that. Like if they do need some AoE CC, which I feel like they are lacking with this current draft on Dire, then I think Enigma is the pickup for them.
Right.
15 seconds now remaining on the reserve time, and we will see here shortly what they decide to pick.
If the Tidehunter actually was thinking that. I should have said it.
Yeah, so that's going to be a 1 Tide supported by the Clockwork and a 3 Wraith King. That does help with their CC issues. In lane, I feel like Tide does pretty well versus the Axe.
10 seconds remaining.
It's going to be a 4 Tuskar. And on the other side, to give you Puck.
Choose your hero.
Puck is pretty good against Odie. And it adds more CC to their team. I like both drafts, honestly. Ursa's not going to be in the lane with the Tidehunter, so that natural counter won't really come into play this game.
5 seconds remaining.
And just thinking about the lanes here, I feel like Odie is overall going to win the lane versus the puck. I think that Tide is not really going to lose the lane versus a Tusk Axe because it's going to be double melee going into the Tidehunter.
Mm-hmm.
And in the bottom lane, or the safe lane for Dire, or no, that would be the off lane. For the off lane for Dire, it's going to be a Wraith King Weaver, most likely, versus a Ursa Shadow Shaman. And in that lane, honestly, Shadow Shaman Ursa is pretty scary, so I'm going to give the advantage in that lane to Radiant there.
Yeah, I think the Dire is going to be playing around their big team fight a lot here, and I think Radiant's plan is probably to go for picks more than not. I mean, they do have Coil, they have wards, so they can fight around that, but things like Sanities and the Ravage are going to be difficult for them to play against.
Let me go and find the command to make the smooth camera. Well, I guess we can try in the drag camera to start out with.
Prepare for battle.
Let's introduce the players. It is going to be the Chaz on the puck, TWA Monkey on Shadow Shaman, Tommy Ruggs on the Ursa, Epi on the Tusk, and Visions on the Axe. On the side of Dire, it is going to be Granola on the Tidehunter, SLA on the Odie, Dimitri on the Wraith King, Emu on the Weaver, and Crasheroni on the Clockwork. We will start the game off with a smoke on Dire running into the enemy jungle. The smoke will pop and they'll.
Looks like they're going to find the Tusk here. Tusk got with his pants down there, and he's going down for first blood on the Tide.
All alone. His allies weren't really there to help support him, and with the cogs there, he did not really have any kind of escape there.
Tips coming out already. It's not even minute 0.
Some leagues do ban tips altogether. Some allow it before minute 0, and some just allow them throughout the game. I'm not sure what this league has, but they obviously allowed some form of tips.
Looks like we're avoiding any more skirmishes before the horn sounds, but pretty even split on the bounties.
It doesn't appear like there's any kind of surprises in the lanes. Looks like we predicted them correctly. Tidehunter will be starting off with Nanoplankton Eater, so he's going to be starting small in lane and then grow bigger as time progresses. And actually it's going to be a Shadow Shaman 4, as the Clockwork done it doing a ton of damage with level 1 cogs up top. And I'm honestly surprised that they decided to put the Tuskar bottom. I guess they recognized that the Tide was going to be the ones they didn't want to do the dual melee into the Tide. Kind of split those heroes up. I do like that rotation. I don't think this roster was intended to be the 4.
Yeah, Tusk 5 isn't the worst. He's good at keeping them off of his carry. And if they do manage to get the upper hand, Ice Shards is a great way to trap the enemy in with the bear.
Crash getting low top. Rosta was kind of chasing him a little bit, but he manages to get back into the safety of his tower.
Getting very low. Ether Shock is available.
He will break all those trees with cogs, so he has a bit of vision on the Rasta. And we'll be able to Playing his movements a little bit better there. In the bottom lane, we have a Shards coming out, trying to go on the Weaver. He drops the Swarm on 2 heroes.
Ursa Bear's going in. Thinks better of it, gets out of there.
Yeah, both Radiant heroes getting pretty low in this bottom lane. As once the Swarm comes out, you basically have to stop fighting and kill the bug. Trying to fight under the bug is never a good idea.
Especially somebody like Wraith King. If he cleaves you without, or crits you, excuse me, without any armor, that's gonna hurt.
So a little bit of a quiet early game, as I forgot to put on Last Hits Knives. We can take a look at those now. Not a lot happening since that first blood.
Seems like mostly business as usual harassment. Unsurprisingly, OD is being a little bit of a bully there. It's taking an XP lead in the mid lane.
Yeah, this puck is gonna do well in the first couple levels, I feel, but once this OD gets level 5 plus and gets his ult, it's gonna be very difficult for this puck to lane against him, I feel. OD's just able to keep spamming the W and harassing the puck.
That poor puck has 360 mana pool.
In the bottom lane, we have a Dust being committed on this Weaver. Shards comes out. Doesn't catch him at all, though. He's able to run it off. We have a bit of a go top. Axe gets cogged. Clock missing on the right click.
Oh, interesting. The shackle's off, but canceled it immediately.
Bottom, we have Wraith King getting gone on by the Ursa. He will go down.
He's going down.
That gets my seal of approval.
And that'll be the first kill since First Blood, going the way of Radiant.
Yeah, still not much going on here. Looks like bugs have been committed bottom, and Radiant are just running away.
So it seems like this is going to be a fairly quiet laning phase. Doesn't seem like either team wants to pressure too hard. Both sides went up
Tusk
for
gets
levels.
stunned. A little bit of harass coming out.
Yeah, but the Wraith King Q is the only way they can really slow him. So unless he's brutally out of position or low resource, it's going to be hard to finish that kill. In the top lane, we have a bit of a dive here. As the
Nice pick on the Clockwork by Axe and Shadow Shaman.
Top is missing.
So I expect this to be more of a quiet laning phase. So going into the mid game, assuming parity and farm, what team do you see having an easier time taking team fights, winning team fights?
Yeah, that depends on item timings, I think. If Axe can get some kind of a Blink Dagger, I think they got a lot of great jump potential with Tusk and Puck to just roam around and try to get some kills. Ooh, Tidehunter going down. Axe gets a nice call on him up top there. Clockwork is...
Might be a second kill.
Yeah, he's getting out of there.
Yeah, Rasta doesn't have the mana for Z. But surprising,
It's like Wraith King has died in the bottom lane in the meanwhile.
missing a lot of kills here. Lanes are starting to get a little bit spicier.
Yeah. Radiant taking a little bit of an golden XP lead. Both of the mid laners are level 6 now.
Go on top, Tidehunter getting caught out. He'll stun. I don't think the damage is there though, as they turn on the axe.
It's getting close. Counter Helix is doing a lot of damage. getting pretty low there. Axe will go down, and Shadow Shaman has got to run away.
We'll be able to. Axe is the top CS at 7 minutes, pretty decently ahead of any of his dire counterparts. At 44 CS. Tidehunter is not having a very fun laning phase with only 23 CS at the 7-minute mark. And it seems like the decision to move the Rost up there was the correct one, as they are able to bully this Tide.
Tide is pretty good. Oh, OD teleporting at the top. Puck is already there.
Radiant's middle tower.
Yeah, they dropped the
Astral
W.
Imprisonment's come out. There's the Sanities. Radiant's pretty low. Access one shot, possibly. Oh, pops the clarity or the salve to get away there with just barely any HP. Very nice.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Weaver did go down during that. Nobody died in the top lane. Overall, ends up being a fair advantage for Radiant. So they get a couple hundred gold ahead off that.
Under attack.
I was meant to have this.
Alright, I can't keep doing this drag thing. I gotta get the assisted camera in 1 second. Apologies.
A bit of harassment going off in the mid lane here. Just harassment. Bottom lane, Ursa Bear's farmed up his 6. He's working on a Battle Fury. Tidehunter is moving towards Vlad's, it looks like.
A little bit of go on the Weaver down bottom. It doesn't end up being anything.
Yeah, it's a tough guy to kill as a bear.
So kind of looking at a core versus core, I think that Puck handles the OD fairly well in like around the 15-minute mark. I think OD needs to really get a BKB to be able to handle a Puck. I mean, obviously, you can drop the hammer, you can drop the W, you can do a lot of damage to a single target. But I think Puck's going to have a better time than they did in lane going into the mid-game fights. In terms of the Ursa Bear, Odie's actually a very strong counter versus the Ursa because the Odie can either save a target or put the Ursa under. It will get reduced duration-wise by the Enrage should he put the bear under. But they do have a bit of a counter to the bear in the Odie. Tidehunter is not a counter versus the Ursa. The damage reduction doesn't really work versus the Fury swipes. And so I imagine this Tide is going to be building more to deal with the Puck by going like Blink Dead in the Water, maybe like a Blink Orchid, rather than trying to build items to deal with the Ursa. I feel like the OD is more...
Looks like Clockwork here is scouted out to the Radiance triangle stacks.
Ooh, this is actually quite big if Tidehunter's able to come over here and contest them.
Shadow Shaman.
Clock will
Makes his
get
way into the
slotted
jungle.
up.
Yeah, it looks like they see him. Nice ice shards. Cogs are not going to be able to keep him away, though. And it looks like Clockwork is going down.
There's a Weaver and an OD and a Puck coming over there. Could end up being something more... No.
Yeah, they don't want the smoke.
As for the final core, Wraith King does do pretty decent against Ursa. Def does purge off the Fury Swipe stack, so you could have a... Looks like he's going to Radiance, Blink, Blade Mill. Those are pretty anti-Ursa
Fight's
items.
brewing top. Looks like the Ravage has been committed. Dream Coil coming out pretty big for the... Oh, and there's Sanity's Eclipse. OD coming in to try to get some picks here. Radiant with just barely any HP. Axe does manage to go down to the OD. Ursa Bear showed up. He wants some blood.
Wards are down. Dire's backing away from the wards.
Not sure if this is the best decision by the Ursa Bear, but he is jumping in on the Tidehunter. Puck on the side, hitting an OD. Wraith King shows up to start smacking the tusk around. Snowball coming out. Getting stunned under those wards. Wraith King taking a lot of damage, but Doesn't have his ult skilled, interestingly.
At the end of the day, it ended up being a slight gold advantage, slight XP advantage on the side of Dire. They did move all their heroes up here. And doesn't... Looks like Dire might be sticking around to try and do some damage on this tower. Although, as I say it, they appear to be backing up.
Yeah, a lot of commitment for not a lot of payoff. It was 1 kill for the OD, and then... Dire's moving into position here. Trying to take control of this top side of the map to... I think they're trying to secure these stacks, but it looks like Radiant is moving over to maybe clear them out with the puck here.
Clock Flare does come out, seeing that the stacks are getting moved around. With Hammer and Ravage down, Dire want to try and avoid fights, if possible. And Tidehunter's even back in base at this point.
Ooh, Clock is lingering around the mid lane. Maybe they're thinking about trying something here.
I doubt it with the Eclipse on cooldown.
Ah, just passing through, I guess. Digging up a mango.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Looks like Axe has opted for an early Vanguard.
It's decent, I'd say, as we...
A little bit of action possibly in the bottom lane. Oh, no, they're just avoiding each other.
Yeah, in the meantime, there's a couple of heroes collapsing on the Weaver. Rasta goes in, doesn't drop the E on the Weaver, so he's able to Sakuchi out of there. Odie did do a TP up there, but canceled it. As the 14-minute Wisdom Shrines will pop out. We have some wards getting dropped up top. Trying to secure this tier 1 top.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Without the OD TP though, able to come in, I doubt that Dire gonna come up here and defend this tower. Our Pause One is Legend does like to make plays on the Tormentor the moment it spawns. And it will spawn in the bottom half of the map at the transition to nighttime. It seems like Radiant may be looking for something down here, as after they took the top tower, they took the gate south. And they're down here now with the Ursa. Maybe looking for a pick, or maybe sitting it for the Tormentor.
Could be. There was some Wraith Gang skeletons hitting the tower there. So
Weaver actually goes down to the Axe up top.
Ooh,
We
nice
were sitting in the wave and Axe just blinking on them. Very easy kill for the Axe.
Dire looking to make a push for this bottom T1. Smoked up, walking over. Waiting for the moment to strike on this Ursa Bear, it looks like.
Clock is not in position yet to deal with the Ursa. We will just TP out. Looks like he's going to go finish the stacks with this Battle Fury. As Dire looks like they're going to be going...
starts hitting the Torm, yeah.
In the mid lane, we were getting gone on a little bit. They popped the dust for him, but he just Sakuchi's out of there. As Ursa getting a ton of gold from these stacks. Let's watch over to net with for a second. You can see the cores for Radiant are getting a bit of a lead against their Dire counterparts. Tormentor going down, giving it to the Weaver. It's a fairly strong shard, as we might have
teleports to the mid. Puck gets the silence off. Looking to maybe go in. Shard's coming out. Axe gets the call on the OD and is chopping him to death. Wards are down. They grab the Weaver. Weaver goes down. Tusk's in a little bit of a rough spot here, but Radiant have the advantage. Tide looking for a Ravage. Gonna hold on to it.
Radiant recognizing that the Tide is here with Ravage, they will split up and get out of there.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Ends up being a 2-for-1, as the puck did go down to the Tidehunter during that. About a 700 gold swing and 500 XP swing going the way of Radiant. And what's most concerning is that these cores on Radiant are starting to pull ahead from their Dire counterparts, like over 1,000 gold at this point on the Axe and Ursa.
Yeah, important items too. I mean, the Battle Fury and the Blink are going to be huge for them. Versus taking the Roshan. Team's coming to support him.
Should be a fairly easy Roshan. Unless the clock flares up, Odie comes in with a hammer. I doubt they're going to contest this. Tommy Ruggs will be picking up the Aegis at the 17.5-minute mark, and he'll retreat back to his side of the map to continue farming. Radiant's sticking around in the top side of the map, probably eyeing up this tier 2 top, maybe trying to get a pick, as Dire are on the opposite side of the map. Maybe setting up some kind of push on this bottom tower. With roster wards available, though, I feel that Radiant has the advantage when it comes to pushing at this stage of the game.
Yeah,
So,
Dire's going to have a hard time engaging into the Aegis, too.
Yeah. Will they commit the wards? They will.
Tower is under attack.
Looks like there's no fort for this tower. Odie's TPing in, Weaver's TPing in. Trickling in from the Dire. Trying to push them out of their top lane. Dream Coil goes off, catches the Odie. Shards cutting off the team. Axe goes in, gets a call on the Odie as well. Looks like they're trying to focus him down. Here comes the Ravage.
Big Ravage.
Hits them all under tower. The Tusk is going down. Clockwork trying to survive here. Axe gets the call off, keeping the Tidehunter from doing more damage. Anchor coming out on the Puck, but he is managing to dodge around here. Not looking good for the Dire as the Tidehunter falls.
Top tower is
Radiant did a good job about prioritizing down that Odie before he could really do anything. Not even getting off Sandry's Eclipse before going down. And just ignoring the Tide at the stage of the game. The Vlad's Phase Boots Tide just can't really get on anybody and hit them. Do anything, so they just kind of ignore him, go for his entire team, leaving him for last.
Yeah, it was a really nice Ravage, though. It's unfortunate they weren't able to get anything off of it.
It was, but at that point Odie was dead, and that's the majority of their damage at that stage.
Right.
Of the game. Ends up being about a 2.5k gold swing going towards Radiant, who are starting to build up a little bit of a lead here. At the 20-minute mark.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Ursa still has the Aegis, but without wards, it seems like Radiant aren't keen on pushing another tower.
Gold and sweet.
Radiant now
Looks
looking
like the
to
Radiant
establish presence in the triangle.
Are about to get gone on in the triangle here. Bugs come out. Axe is getting caught by the Anchor. Ice Shard's coming out. Snowball. Dream Coil's in. Hook shot onto the Tusk.
They're focusing on the Clockwork, though, as Odie starts to come in.
Weaver's getting pretty low. Here comes Ursa Bear.
Silenced. Oh, no.
Grabbed on the Odie and just torn to bits.
Odie getting immediately disabled by the
Axe calls, chops the first life of the Wraith King. Looks like Tide's trying to get the hell out of dodge. And Wraith King is just going to be ripped to bits by that Ursa Bear.
Kind of a disaster fight. Odie just walking in, getting stunned, and dying before doing anything again. 2 fights in a row. That's going to give a pretty significant lead to Radiant here. Never about 3,000 gold, 4,000 XP.
Dire's
Going their
middle
way.
tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Radiant applying good pressure to 2 lanes here. A fort coming down from Dire. That's interesting. A little early, I think.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
That is their tier 3 fort.
Dire's bottom
Radiant
tower
are
is
a
under
little low on HP on a couple of their heroes here. Clockwork looking for the hook shot and misses. Don't know if Radiant really want to be fighting with their low HP at this time.
Dire's
Although
bottom tower is under
Gold-wise, they are pretty significantly ahead. All 3 cores now on Radiant are ahead of their Dire counterparts.
Ursabear's got a Blink Dagger and a Skull Basher. He is a force to be reckoned with, and
is under attack.
might be looking to do something with the last 30 seconds of this Aegis. Farming around that mid T2. Overpower coming out. Looks like he's going to make a play on the OD top, doing quite a bit of damage to him.
Odie has a
Popping
double.
the ults. Yeah, vanished. Here comes Axe to try to dive the T3, and they do get him. Tidehunter trying to come back and get some revenge, but gets turned into a chicken by the Hex.
Yeah, that Insta-Sun saved a Ravage turnaround, potentially.
Tower is
Yeah.
under attack.
Great find by the Shadow Shaman. A little bit of action. Oh, no. Sorry, I thought something was going on mid there.
Dire's middle tower
It's
is
starting to
under
turn into a little bit of a one-sided game, as Dire have not won a fight
attack. Tower has fallen.
in quite a while. Radiant seem to be leisurely moving around the map, taking the outers. They have basically full control of this map at this point.
Yeah, not sure what needs to be done here, but
Well, the Odie
Dire
needs to
gotta-
not die at the very start of the fight 3 times
That's
in a row
true.
at this point.
maybe a smoke play or something if they can get some picks.
Yeah, they almost found the clockwork there. They do find the Wraith King. Gets stunned up by the Shadow Shaman. Ursa's
He's
in
a
there.
tough guy to kill, but they got plenty of guys down there. He's not got a lot of hope. Goes down with his ult on 9-second cooldown.
It's a little bit of time before Roshan and Tormentor. The last objective for Radiant is probably the bottom tower. Weaver is showing mid. Looks like they may make a play on him.
Pucks used the Dream Coil on Weaver here. Weaver's getting pretty low, gets the time lapse off, but is called by Axe, snowballed, and he's going down.
Goes up and gets chopped.
Yeah, Tusk knocks him up, and Axe chops him down.
Honestly, I don't mind these movements by Dire. Just trying to make a little bit of space, push the waves out a little bit. It feels like they need a little bit of breathing room during all these deaths. Tidehunter and Odie have been farming up their items. Tide is working towards an SNY. I'm not sure if that's really the item you want to go for, since the enemy are kind of leaving him until he's the last in fight. Odie
Dire's bottom
going with Witchblade Dragonlance. He is pretty under-farmed this game. Looks like he's working towards potentially a Blink Dagger or a Force Staff, because right now he has to walk into fights, which is not working out well versus these Blink Axes and Blink Rostas and Blink Pucks, Blink Tusks. Everybody has a fucking Blink on Radiant here. So they're able to control the positioning in the fight a lot better than Dire are right now.
Yeah, pushing down this bottom T2.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I doubt Dire's
gonna-
gonna respond to this.
Yeah, just cleaning up the outers. Pretty good timing. Roshan can be spawning in the next 15 seconds. So I think that's probably going to be their plan.
Tormentor was taken at 16 something. So in about a minute, it's going to be up, and that's going to be another potential objective for them.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Do you feel like Radiant strong enough to force high ground?
With an Aegis for sure. I mean, if they can get a good pick, like the OD or maybe the Tide, if they're able to burst him down. I mean, he is pretty far out of base.
A lot of heroes trying to find this OD up top. He goes into the trees and TP's out. Good amount of space being made. Axe does find Dimitri in the top.
Okay. Unfortunately gets ravaged by the Boglings, Marsh Mages, or whatever the hell they're called. So Wraith King is able to get out there.
There's a lot of dodging going on. Dire sending out heroes to try and make some space. As it seems like both teams are content to wait for the objectives. And Radiant doesn't seem too keen on trying to force something on the high ground.
Yeah, it's tough fighting uphill against that Ravage.
Axe with the Blade Mill Crimson Guard at this point. Very hard hero to kill. As if you're Dire, what heroes are you trying to burst down at the start of the fight? Dream Coil actually coming out.
Coil coming out, and they're going to get the pick off on the Clockwork.
So I feel like Dire kind of lack hard, cheap CC for a hero they want to burst, like a roster or a puck. They drop the wards down top. With the clock dead, though, it's going to be very difficult for Dire to defend this.
Are fortified.
Just looking for their opportunity here.
Like, the only way they are able to burst like a roster or a puck, I feel, is if Wraith King jumps in, uses the Wraith Fire Blast, followed up by an OD or something.
Oh, Axe goes in, grabs the call on Wraith King.
Yeah, it's
Looks
a
like
hard
he's just
hero to
pulling him
kill.
out of the base. Ice shards, nice zoning there.
Astral coming out to save his friend. Yeah, it seemed like
Yes.
Radiant aren't too keen on pushing that ground. They're probably going to wait for the next Roshan, which is up.
Tough high ground to crack, but they did get almost half of that tower down. Yeah, I'm not sure who. I mean, obviously, you would love to knock down the puck. Maybe try to pick off the Shadow Shaman, but, you know, he turns into a chicken and runs away. Dire looking like they're maybe trying to smoke. They're worried about the Roshan. The clock did die earlier to get some wards down there, but those have been cleared out.
Clock Flare will reveal to Dire that Roshan is up. Radiant running into the pit just as the flare expires, so they probably don't know this is happening until right now when Roshan lowers and the flare does come out. I doubt they're going to contest this though. Ursa's just going to take it so quickly.
Ooh, Clock looks like Clock's getting caught out here. Call and the Shackles at the same time is a little awkward, but looks like he will still be going down. Dream Coil
Misses
manages to
everything.
catch the OD. OD's in a heap of trouble here. Trying to get out of here. Axe has got his Blink Dagger soon. Shadow Shaman manages to get the Hex in. It looks like OD's getting picked off right as the Roshan dies. This is going to be a very tough hold for the Dire.
If I were Radiant, I'd be pushing as hard as I can right now. In this top lane. Looks like that is what they're doing.
Yeah, just waiting for the creeps. There's no fort, so straight uphill.
Radiant will have the banner as well should they choose to use it.
Bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Rasta does drop the wards top. Pretty hard commitment. I don't think that
Dire's
Dire
top tower
try and save these Rex. I think they wait the 10 seconds for the Rody to come up.
are under attack.
Yeah, well, Tide's moving in. Bug's
Yeah.
coming out.
He has no Blink Dagger on Tide, so he has to walk in and ravage.
3 seconds. Oh, Axe calls the Weaver. Ursa Bear's going in. It's going to get the pick off. Here comes the Ravaged. Pretty decent. Radiant's getting a little low, but he's still got that Aegis. Nice dodge. Hook shot coming off on the Shadow Shaman behind. Wraith King dragging those guys deep into the... Sanity's comes out, but the OD does go down. Looks like the Tusk is going to pay for it. Oh, Ursa Bear's Aegis is up again. They're smacking him down. He's going to get the BKB TP out, and we got a couple of chasers for this Clockwork out of base here. He's going to be knocked down, I suppose. Oh, Axe just 10 mana shy of that Culling Blade there. Inexpensive, but they did manage to save the racks. Ooh, a little more action going on here as the Tidehunter is catching and just smacking down the Axe there. Puck's going to be running away. Weaver's pursuing with Shikuchi.
Without any kind of Orchid, though.
No catch, yeah.
Or unable
No
to.
Gleep, no Orchid, nothing. Putting himself in a bit of danger. Ooh, very nice. Blink in by the Ursa Bear there to take out the Weaver.
I felt like that was a bit optimistic by the Weaver there, continuing to chase the puck. It was at over half HP.
Yeah, it's a tough guy to catch. Oh, it looks like Wraith King does have a Blink Dagger now, so maybe there could have been a little support, but not as fast as a Weaver. So, unfortunately, the Dire fell behind and wasn't able to support the chase. When
When you're this far behind on Dire, I believe it's best to try and shove out lanes, try and get the creeps as close to the enemy towers as possible to try and force out rotations, because creep waves in among themselves can be their own wards by scouting out rotations when the enemy comes over to deal with it. So anything they can do to really shove out these waves and try to split up Radiant's heroes is going to be massive. Like even now they have a wave top and they see the axe. And so they could look to start a fight here. Ursa actually
Looks like Ursa's jumping on a tide, but Wraith King is there too. Coil comes out, catches 3. Ursa Bear's used his BKB, and it looks like he wants to get out of there.
Axe did not even bother walking towards this fight.
Yeah, Dream Coil used. Lucky that Ravage was still on cooldown when that fight happened. That could have been pretty unfortunate for them there.
I feel like this is an excellent time for Dire to try and start a fight. Ursa, no Enrage, no BKB, no Dream Coil. Axe is there, but they have Sanities and Ravage. Yeah,
they're grouped up pretty big here. Call's going off. Catch on the Clockwork. Clockwork hookshots in, gets murdered by the Ursa Bear. Ravage did come out, and looks like they're trying to focus down that... Oh, they will manage to get the OD. A lot going on here. Trying to focus down that puck. Looks like they're going to be able to get him. Ursa Bear is going in on the Tidehunter, getting it.
Excellent shard. Blocks him in at the Ursa.
Huge stuff, yeah. Ursa Bear just... Those Fury Swipes stacking up. It's tough to deal with that. Even though the Dire is very tanky, and they'll just... Oh, nice blink out by the Wraith King there.
It was an unfortunate start to the fight as both Wraith King and Odie jumped on that Rasta. Wraith King wanted to stun the Rasta, but Odie started the fight with Astral Imprisonment, which is not what you want to do when you want to burst a hero. So they kind of just blinked forward and stood there like idiots and allowed the Radiant to come in and punish them.
I think Clockwork also hookshotted himself onto the Ursa, which is usually a death sentence for the Clockwork.
Not the target you want to be going on. If you're the Clockwork, what do you think your role is this game?
Well, tricky. I think you're probably going to want to hit somebody, save somebody from shackles. I think that's what I'd be trying to do, but I'm not really a clock player, so... I mean, if your OD or, you know, your Weaver is getting shackles and ripped to shreds, you got that opportunity to save him. If you use it against the Ursa, I mean, he's just gonna smack you to death.
Dropping the wards mid.
Try to use it. Oh, Ursa Bear blinking in.
Finds the OD.
Finding the OD. Oof. Brutal. Wraith King in the back line hitting the puck. Looks like he's going down here. That is his last life. Ooh, the Ice Shards trapping the Tidehunter in with the Bear again. It's just a devastating combo, and it looks like he's going down. Buybacks coming out.
Axe left alone.
TPing back in. No Ravage for Fine, but 5 seconds on the cooldown. They're really hoping to find something here.
Wraith King finds a Rasta.
Until it got in my way.
Big slow from the shards keeps the Wraith King from pursuing. So with 3 buybacks, three buybacks, they do manage to find the axe. Ends up being a 1200 gold swing favoring Radiant. Almost 4000 XP swing favoring Radiant. We have a Rasta top lane. Doesn't have any wards. Wonder what he's doing up there.
Waiting for his team to get in position, maybe to try to pick this OD off again.
Oh boy.
That seems to be their prime directive here, is just lock this OD down.
Well, he is the one counter they have to Ursa, really. Wraith King is not really building anti-Ursa items. He went the Orchid, now he's looking like he's going for a Sanjin Yasha. That's not what you want to build when you're going for Ursa. You want more stuff like Abyssal Blade, or heck, even like a Hex. Or just right-click items in general. Rasta might be getting gone on here. Blinks out to safety.
It's looking pretty bleak for Dire, but they have been able to hold on this long, so...
Odie is a pretty scary hero. at any stage of the game.
Yeah, he's still not even level 18 yet. He's just been
Yeah.
getting bullied in these fights.
Some thunder outside. Apologies if you heard that.
I did hear that. I was wondering. Well, looks like they'll be able to find the Weaver there, committing the Dream Coil for it. OD looking for the Tusk here. Shadow Shaman is... Wraith King blinks in, gets the stun off. Looks like the Radiant are going to be able to get out of there. Pretty tanky Tusk. 2500 HP.
I have a smoke coming up from Rasta.
Yeah, looks like they might try something if they can find it here. Really just hoping that OD shows himself again. Ooh, Axe goes on the Tidehunter. Gets the Astral. And he's safe for now.
Tidehunter's not really the hero you want to be going on in these fights, or to start these fights off.
Yeah, Radiant playing pretty safe back behind their buildings, though. Tough to find an opening. Roshan coming up soon. Ward's going off bottom. A bit of an awkward positioning from the Shadow Shaman. He's getting blinked on by the Wraith King, but he gets Walrus kicked out. Axe is in, catches the Weaver. And it looks like the Ursa Bear is committed on the Wraith King. Snowballing in.
Completely whiffs
the
on
Dream
the
Coil
hammer.
catches 3. It's not looking good for the Dire here. Weaver goes down. Ursa Bear is deep in the base here. And Dire are doing all they can to try to damage control. Axe gets the 2-man call off. Oh my god, it's a disaster for the Dire. Puck will go down. Axe taking a lot of damage from this OD here.
We'll be able to just start right-clicking. Ursa comes in though.
More buybacks coming out from Shadow Shaman and Weaver. Ursa Bear charging in against the OD. He's one hit away from death, and he gets him. Clockwork is focusing down the Shadow Shaman. Axe gets the call off to save him though, but Weaver's there. Weaver running through the team. Axe 1 HP. Weaver's going for him. Just doesn't have the damage to take him down though. Ursa Bear focusing down the buildings.
Axe with the
Not much.
Dagon. Interesting build.
Middle tower has
Oh. Very interesting build.
Dire's middle
I think that's purely to try and bring this OD down as quickly as possible. Potentially this Weaver too.
The Radiant is low, but this Weaver does not have the kind of damage he needs to kick them out of there.
I want to talk about that prior fight, but the
barracks are under attack.
a little bit of still a situation here as the Radiant taking the racks. 4 dead on Dire. Will they back off after this mid one?
Dire's middle barracks has fallen.
I mean, there's just a sliver of HP on that bottom tower. I'm surprised they're not just running it down.
So Ursa will leave, like we'll get Dire.
Disciplined play, going back to Fountain.
That fight started out looking really good. Because the Axe whiffed on a call. And they went on the Tide Enter again. Odie was able to get out of there. The problem is Odie Sanity's eclipsed Snowball. It just did no damage whatsoever.
Yeah.
That would have been a much different fight if he was able to land that on the 2-3 heroes that were in Snowball. But it ended up working out decently because the Odie was just able to survive for so long and just kept right-clicking the whole time. He was able to do a lot of damage. But it ended
Yeah,
up,
those Arcane Orbs do a hell of a lot.
yep, even this far behind, just that pure damage. It's really strong. Ursa is far and ahead the leader in net worth. He is over double the net worth of Tidehunter and Odie.
Oh, Clockwork looking like he might try to do something about this Roche take here. Just thinking better of it, though.
That's a good. Could have gone
It's
in
a
there for the
dangerous.
items.
A golden thread.
Have a gem on the Shadow Shaman. He's going to use that to deny any kind of vision that Dire has put up. And it's just going to make this very difficult. They will give the shard to Shadow Shaman, so I'd expect there's going to be a double ward play here for the bottom lane to try and get this, this last set of racks.
Axe going off for the call, trying to drag the Tidehunter out of base. Here come the double wards.
Ursa
And the
coming in
banner
the
goes
Odie.
down. Kicks around. Ursa's in the back line, tearing him to shreds. Clockwork, yeah, going on the Shadow Shaman, but there's bigger threats in the base right now, I think. Ravage comes out, hits 3. They're doing decent damage to the Radiant there, but oh, just not enough to get through that Ursa Bear. Not without your OD. First Wraith King goes down, and he does manage to... Oh, but the Puck's got Dream Coil for him. He's getting pretty low on the edge of the fountain here. Axe diving into the fountain to try to kill the Wraith King, and they will manage to get him. Fight's still on, though, as Ursa Bear attacks the Weaver in the mid lane.
Ursa's getting low.
Playing
but
with
he still has
fire
a
here.
Davis.
Silence, and they're shackling him. That's going to be the end of Weaver, and possibly the end of the Dire.
They will call GG. First game going the way of Lizzo,
Dire's middle
and a
radiant
pretty comprehensive victory by them. Getting out of the laning phase with a slight advantage, but it just felt like they were able to get on the OD basically every single fight, and just snowballed off of that throughout the entire course of the game. Our puzzle, his legend, really needed that OD to perform better that game.
Yeah, it's difficult. Radiant was able to get those early items. I mean, that Blink Dagger on Axe was just devastating. They were able to find a lot and use that to snowball.
Ursa did not die that game. Largely because the OD was just focused so hard in every single fight. Alright, well, bit of a one-sided game for game one. This is a best of 3. And this could be a little bit of a break before game 2 is played. And so we'll take a little bit of break as well. And stay tuned for the second game in the series.